They told you the story of Osiris was a myth, a quaint tale from ancient Egypt about a murdered king, a grieving wife, and a vengeful son. They filed it under pagan folklore and taught you to see it as a primitive explanation for agriculture and the changing seasons. But that is a lie. A profound and deliberate lie designed to conceal one of the most powerful truths ever given to humanity. Osiris was not just a god of the underworld. He was the blueprint for your own immortality. His story is not a myth. It is a formula, an alchemical instruction manual for the resurrection of the human soul. His death, his dismemberment, his rebirth. It is not his story. It is your story. It is the coded map of your own fall into a fragmented world and the sacred path back to divine, eternal wholeness. The system you live in needs you to believe you are mortal, broken, and in need of external salvation. The story of Osiris proves that salvation is a technology that lives inside you. This is why it was buried, distorted, and dismissed. Because if you truly understood what the resurrection of Osiris meant, you wouldn't just be inspired, you would become dangerous. You would remember that you were never meant to be a victim of this world, but the resurrected king of your own reality. And once you remember that, their control over you shatters forever. So forget the dusty textbooks and the hollow interpretations. We are about to uncover the true story of Osiris, the story they never wanted you to know. The story of how to die to your limited self and be reborn as the god you have always been. Before there was darkness, there was unity. Before there was a world of separation, there was the reign of Osiris. He was not just a king. He was a principle. The principle of divine order, harmony, and integrated consciousness. In his kingdom, heaven and earth were not separate. Spirit and matter were in balance. Life was a reflection of cosmic truth, Ma'at. But unity cannot exist without its opposite. And in this perfect world walked Set, the brother of Osiris. Set is not simply a villain, a jealous sibling. He is the archetype of something far deeper. He is the force of chaos, the principle of ego, the razor of separation that slices unity into duality. He is the lure of the material world, the whisper of doubt, the seductive promise of individual power over collective harmony. Set represents the force that pulls consciousness down into density, into the illusion that you are separate from Source, separate from each other, separate from your own divine nature. The story goes that Set, driven by jealousy, devised a plan to usurp his brother's throne. He crafted a magnificent coffin, a sarcophagus of exquisite beauty, tailored to the exact measurements of Osiris. At a great feast, he presented it as a prize, promising it to anyone who could fit inside it perfectly. Many tried and failed, and then Osiris, trusting and noble, laid down in the coffin. It was a perfect fit in. That moment, Set and his conspirators slammed the lid shut, sealing it with lead, and cast it into the Nile. This is not just a story of betrayal. It is a cosmic parable for the fall of your own soul. You are Osiris. The magnificent coffin is the physical body, a beautiful but limiting vessel that you were tricked into believing was your true identity. And the river is the current of forgetting, the flow of incarnation that drowned your memory of where you came from. But the fall did not end there. Set, consumed by his rage and fear that Osiris might be found, retrieved the coffin. He then committed the ultimate act of fragmentation. He dismembered the body of his brother into 14 pieces and scattered them across the lands of Egypt. This is the heart of the mystery. The dismemberment of Osiris is a metaphor for the fracturing of your own consciousness. When you fell into this dense material reality, your divine wholeness was shattered. Each of the 14 pieces represents a lost aspect of your true self. Your intuition, your courage, your sacred creativity, your connection to nature, your memory of past lives, all scattered and buried beneath the chaos of Set's world. And now, you walk through life feeling that something is missing. You feel broken, incomplete, haunted by a quiet ache for a wholeness you can't name. That is not a psychological flaw. That is the cellular memory of your own dismemberment. You are a scattered god, a divine king in exile, wandering the lands of your own forgetting, searching for the pieces of yourself you didn't even know were lost. The system, Set's world, is designed to keep you searching in all the wrong places. It tells you to find your missing pieces in career success, in relationships, in possessions, in external validation, but the pieces are not out there. They are buried within you, waiting for you to begin the sacred quest of putting yourself back together. The story of Osiris's fall is not a tragedy to be mourned. It is a diagnosis of the human condition and the first clue on the map back to your own divinity. Some mysteries are too potent for a world built on illusion. The practical, alchemical steps of this great work of resurrection are what we explore in our free newsletter, Insights Academy. To gain access to knowledge they intentionally keep hidden, sign up with the link in the description. You'll also receive a free copy of the Kybalion, while it's still available. In the wake of chaos and fragmentation, a new force emerges, not of violence, not of vengeance, but of unwavering love and divine will. This is Isis, the wife of Osiris, the sister, the great magician. She is not just a grieving widow, she is the active principle of wisdom, the divine feminine intelligence that refuses to accept separation as the final word. While Set represents the force that shatters, Isis represents the force that heals, that gathers, that remembers. Her story is the blueprint for all true spiritual work. When Isis learns of her husband's murder and dismemberment, she does not fall into despair. Her grief becomes her fuel. She sets out on a sacred quest, a journey into the heart of Set's chaotic world, to find every last piece of her beloved. This is not just a search. It is an act of profound spiritual alchemy. It is the process of shadow work. To find the lost pieces of Osiris, Isis must travel through the dark, murky places of the land. She must confront the pain, the decay, the despair of a world ruled by chaos. In the same way, to find the lost parts of yourself, you must be willing to journey into your own inner darkness. You must face your trauma, your shame, your fear. You must have the courage to look at the pieces of your life that you have abandoned, denied, or judged. This is the path of Isis. It is the path of the healer, the seeker, the one who knows that wholeness is not given, it is reclaimed. Isis, with the help of her sister Nephthys, finds 13 of the 14 pieces of Osiris. But the 14th piece, the most crucial one, the phallus, has been eaten by a fish in the Nile. It is lost to the material world. This is one of the most important keys in the entire myth. The phallus represents the divine creative principle, the generative life force, the spark of sexual and spiritual creation. The fact that it was consumed by a fish and lost in the waters of the unconscious signifies that our pure, divine creative power cannot be found in the old, fragmented world. It has been absorbed by the deep, subconscious currents of forgetting. It cannot be recovered. It must be recreated. And so, Isis, the great magician, uses her divine power to fashion a new phallus for Osiris. This is not a literal act. It is a profound symbol. It teaches us that to become whole again, you cannot rely on the broken pieces of the past. You must consciously and intentionally reactivate your own divine creative force. You must become the magician of your own life, using your will, your focus, your sacred energy, Isis's magic, to birth a new potential for creation within you. Once all the pieces are gathered and the creative principle is restored, Isis performs the great rite of remembering. She carefully reassembles the body of Osiris, binding the pieces back together, breathing life back into the form through her love and her sacred words. Notice the word remember, to put the members back together. This is the formula for your own resurrection. The journey is not about finding a new self. It is about remembering the self you have always been. You must gather the scattered pieces of your soul, your lost courage, your silenced intuition, your buried creativity, and consciously integrate them back into your being. This is the great work. It is the journey from fragmentation to coherence, from separation to unity, from a life of quiet desperation to one of divine purpose. The story of Isis is the story of your own higher self, your own divine, feminine wisdom, calling you to embark on this quest. It is the love that will not let you remain broken. It is the intelligence that knows how to put you back together. And it is the magic that will ultimately breathe life back into the sleeping god within you. The remembering of Osiris by Isis is not the end of the story. It is the threshold. It is the moment before the ultimate miracle, the event that shatters the laws of Set's world and reveals the true potential of the human soul, the resurrection. But the resurrection of Osiris is perhaps the most misunderstood part of the entire myth. This was not a simple resuscitation. It was not bringing a dead corpse back to physical life. That would be a return to the old, limited world, the world of Set. The resurrection of Osiris was an alchemical transformation, an ascension into a new, higher state of being. He was not reborn as a mortal king to rule again on earth. He was reborn as the Lord of Duat, the king of the afterlife, the eternal ruler of a higher spiritual dimension. He died as a man and was reborn as a god. He transcended the limitations of the physical body and became a being of pure, eternal consciousness. This is the secret of immortality that was encoded in the Osirian mysteries. Immortality is not about the endless preservation of the physical body. It is about awakening to the part of you that was never born and can never die, your divine essence, your soul. Look at the imagery of the resurrected Osiris. He is often depicted with green skin. In a world that fears decay, this seems strange. But green is not the color of death. It is the color of life, of vegetation, of regeneration, of the unstoppable life force that surges through nature every spring. His green skin is a symbol that he has mastered the cycles of life and death, that he embodies an eternal vibrancy that physical decay cannot touch. He is wrapped as a mummy, not because he is dead, but because he is contained in a new spiritual form, one that is perfectly coherent and unified. He holds the crook and the flail, symbols of divine kingship, not over a land of sand and stone, but over the inner kingdom of the soul. This is the promise of the Osirian path. It is not about escaping death. It is about transforming your relationship to it. It is about undergoing a conscious death of your ego, your limited, fragmented self, so that you can be reborn into the awareness of your true divine self. You die to who you thought you were to become, who you have always been. And here is the most powerful revelation of all. You are the resurrected king. This entire myth is a formula for your own awakening. When you undertake the quest of Isis and gather your own scattered pieces, when you heal your traumas, integrate your shadows, and reclaim your lost power, you are remembering your own divine body. When you consciously reactivate your creative life force, you are performing the magic of Isis. And when you finally achieve inner unity, when you die to the lies of your old identity, you experience your own resurrection. You awaken to your immortal nature, and from this union, something new is born. From the resurrected Osiris and the magical Isis, a child is conceived, Horus. Horus is not just a son seeking revenge. He is the symbol of the new, awakened consciousness. He is the divine child born from the perfect integration of the masculine and feminine, the spiritual and the material. He is the Horus consciousness, what other traditions might call the Christ consciousness, the fully realized being who has conquered their inner chaos and can now see the world with the single, unified eye of Horus. He is the one who can finally challenge the rule of Set, not just within himself, but in the world. This is the destiny of every soul who walks the Osirian path. To die to the illusion, to be reborn in truth, and to birth a new consciousness capable of transforming reality itself. If the story of Osiris is a direct blueprint for human apotheosis, a formula for achieving immortality and divine consciousness, then why is it not the most celebrated teaching in the world? Why has it been relegated to the dusty shelves of mythology, its initiatory power stripped away and replaced with hollow academic interpretations? The answer reveals a war that has been waged against your soul since the dawn of history. The war for your potential. The systems of control that govern this world cannot function if you remember who you are. Their power depends entirely on your belief that you are small, mortal, fragmented, and in need of an external authority to save you. The Osirian mysteries teach the exact opposite. They teach that you are divine, that you are eternal, and that the power to resurrect yourself lies within you. This knowledge is not just empowering, it is revolutionary, and it had to be suppressed. The first and most effective weapon of suppression was the lie of a single life. The Osirian cycle, with its themes of death, rebirth, and reincarnation, shows that life is a continuous journey of evolution. Your existence is not a linear sprint from birth to death, followed by a final, terrifying judgment. It is a spiral, an endless opportunity to learn, grow, and ascend. But a population that understands reincarnation is patient, introspective, and difficult to control with threats of eternal damnation. So, the doctrine of a single life was enforced. You were given one chance, one shot at salvation, and the only path was through obedience to an external institution. This created a culture of urgency, anxiety, and fear, the perfect emotional state for a compliant populace. The second weapon was the rebranding of the myth. Osiris, the powerful archetype of self-resurrection, was labeled a pagan god. His story was dismissed as a primitive agricultural myth, a simple tale about crops dying in the winter and returning in the spring. This intellectual sleight of hand was brilliant. By turning a profound spiritual technology into a quaint piece of folklore, they stripped it of its power. If it's just a story, you won't look for the instructions hidden within. You won't see it as a map for your own soul. You'll file it away and forget it, which is exactly what they wanted. And finally, the world we live in today is the ultimate weapon of suppression. The modern world is the kingdom of Set. It is a system built on the very principles of chaos and fragmentation that Osiris overcame. Look around you. Society is built on division, left versus right, rich versus poor, us versus them. The media thrives on fear, outrage, and conflict. The economy runs on the principle of scarcity and competition. Your attention is constantly shattered by a relentless barrage of notifications, advertisements, and distractions. You are conditioned to live in your mind, disconnected from your body. You are taught to value external achievement over inner alignment. This entire reality is an environment designed to keep you dismembered, to prevent you from ever gathering the pieces of yourself, to ensure that the sleeping God within you never, ever wakes up. Every time you feel scattered, overwhelmed, anxious, and disconnected, you are feeling the influence of Set's world. It is a frequency, an energetic field that works tirelessly to keep you in a state of low-grade chaos. It wants you to forget that there is another way. It wants you to believe that this fragmented, stressful existence is normal. But the story of Osiris is a promise. It is a whisper from a time before the forgetting, a reminder that the kingdom of Set is not your true home. It is a temporary illusion, and you hold the key to transcending it. You are not a victim of this world. You are a divine soul on a sacred quest. The story of Osiris is not something that happened thousands of years ago. It is happening right now, inside you. The war between Osiris and Set is the war for your consciousness. And every day, with every choice, you decide which one wins. So, how do you walk the path of Osiris in a world designed to keep you in pieces? You begin the great work. You become the alchemist of your own soul. The path of Osiris is not a path of belief. It is a path of action, of integration, of courage. It begins with the honest admission that you are fragmented, that parts of you have been lost, abandoned, or suppressed. It requires you to become Isis, to have the fierce love and unwavering will to go searching for those lost pieces, no matter how dark the places you must look. This is the work of healing. Every time you face a trauma instead of running from it, every time you sit with a painful memory and give it compassion, every time you reclaim a part of your voice that you silenced long ago, you are finding a piece of Osiris. You are remembering yourself. You are gathering the sacred fragments. The journey requires you to become a magician, to consciously work with your own life force. You must reclaim your creative and sexual energy from the unconscious waters where it has been lost. You stop wasting it on distraction, on shallow pursuits, on patterns of addiction. You learn to channel it, to direct it upward, to use it to fuel your transformation. This is the recreation of the divine phallus. It is the conscious activation of your power to create a new reality for yourself. And as you gather the pieces, as you reactivate your life force, you begin to feel a shift. The inner chaos starts to subside. A sense of wholeness, of coherence, begins to dawn. This is the remembered Osiris taking form within you, and this is when the true resurrection occurs. It is not a loud, dramatic event. It is a quiet, profound shift in identity. You die to the old self, the victim, the seeker, the fragmented one. And you awaken into the new self, the creator, the knower, the unified being. You stop seeing yourself as a mortal human having a spiritual experience and realize you are an immortal, spiritual being having a temporary human experience. This resurrection is not a one-time event you wait for. It is a process you live every day. Every time you choose unity over division, love over fear, truth over illusion, you are living your resurrection. You are strengthening the Osiris within and weakening the hold of Set's world. You are no longer a passive subject in the myth. You are its living embodiment. You are Isis on the quest. You are the fragmented Osiris becoming whole. And you are the seed of the new consciousness, the divine child Horus, destined to bring balance back to the world. You are the hope. You are the promise. The systems of control may have buried the story, but they could not destroy the blueprint. It lives in you, and you came here, to this time, to this life, to remember it, to live it, and to become the proof that death is an illusion and that every soul holds the power to rise again. This path is not for everyone. It demands everything from you. But the reward is not just peace or happiness. The reward is yourself, your true, eternal, divine self. And if you are ready to begin that journey, to learn the practical, alchemical steps of this great work, we go deeper in our newsletter, Insights Academy. We reveal what cannot be spoken openly. Sign up with the link in the description and receive your free copy of the Kybalion. The knowledge is waiting. The king is waiting to be remembered. The choice, as always, is yours. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting. I understood it.